I mean, for me, Margaret River was how it all started. Margaret River is, I think, one of the most beautiful places in the world. And living in Singapore, it's the closest wine region to Singapore, and it's got some of the beaches and everything. So we as a family were drawn to the area for a while. We go there on holiday, and for myself, the whole looking for a winery had been something that had been going on for many years. I'd even been looking in the UK at one point, where I was looking at old Roman vineyard maps, trying to sort of find something there. But over time, it became apparent that Margaret River was going to be the place. We'd been looking for a winery, we travelled all over. And then we were very lucky, we had a friend actually, who's one of the sort of main viticulturists in Australia, and he helped us out, did a lot of the due diligence, and actually found a few places for us to look at. The day myself and wife, we turned up at Peccavi. We fell in love with it. I mean, it didn't have a name then. It was previously it was a commercial vineyard. A lot of the wine or the grapes were harvested, and they went to a couple of the other pretty famous names in Margaret River. But when we bought it, one of the things we wanted to do was to create our own label. And so the whole thing, we had to find a place that we were, I guess, passionate about how the place looked, how the place felt, but it was also going to have the quality to allow us to make our own label wine. And that's how Peccavi started, really.
Well, amazing. Now tell us, what kind of grapes do you grow over at Peccavi?
At the moment, well, when we bought it, we had Cabernet, Merlot and Shiraz for the reds, and we had Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc and Semillon for the whites. Since we've actually taken over, one of the first things we did, a lot of soil mapping in pretty much every way possible. So sort of from aircraft flying over, doing vigor maps, to digging pits in the ground. So we've done a lot of actually research exactly for what we got. At the moment, we've probably ripped out about, I guess, 25% of our grapes have been sort of taken out, and we're in the process of replanting. We're I believe one of the first vineyards in Australia to get a lot of the new clones out of Bordeaux, partly through some contacts of mine, partly through some people we know. And so right now we're one of the first. We've got 3 new clones of Merlot, and we've got 2 new clones of Cabernet going in. We've also just planted some Petit Verdot, so that's from seeds basically, and these from rootlings, and these are going to take a few years. So we've got Petit Verdot, and my next one is I'm trying to get some Cab Merlot as well.
Now, what kind of blends?
Cab Franc even, sorry.
But what kind of blends do you plan to make in the near future?
Well, I need part of it to get the Petit Verdot and then the Cab Franc is just so that I can increase my Bordeaux blend. That's one of the things. But at the moment, the blends we have the Sauvignon Blanc Semillon, and we have the Cabernet Merlot. They're the 2 sort of main ones. But the idea is for my main Cabernet to be able to put a little bit of these extra grapes in.
Amazing. Now, when you first bought this wonderful winery, what would be the 3 key advice for investors who want to own a winery, and lessons that you have learned after you have purchased it?
It's a tricky one. First of all, to make sure in your heart you really want to do it, because no matter, it's a lot more difficult than you think. It's taken us 8 years, and we're lucky now. We've become successful and it's going well. But you do question yourself when things are difficult. Our first year, like 2006, was going to be our first harvest, and it was a shocker. Pretty much the worst harvest on record for Margaret River. So I had to make a decision sort of pretty early on that we're just going to sell all the red grapes as grape, and we didn't make a single red wine. For that year, I was only able to make a Chardonnay, which for these sort of things, it can be expensive, it can be difficult, and you just got to make sure you're really keen to do everything. Then I think for wine, say your conviction. Number 2, due diligence. The most important thing about a vineyard is you're never going to be able to make good wine from a bad vineyard. You can make bad wine from a good vineyard by messing it up in the sort of winery, but you just can't do it the other way around. So you've got to make sure you do the due diligence, the vineyard, the soil type, what you want to do, what you want to achieve is possible with that particular site. And I think that's probably the most important advice, because if you get that one wrong, you're onto a non-starter right from the beginning. And then for number 3, the team. The team is everything. We were very lucky. We had James Halliday rated us like best new winery in Australia. And he actually did this big sort of statement talking about how the team we got, the viticulturalists, our winemakers, and everything. And if you get the right people, it's another major part of the equation. So yeah, I'm very, very lucky there. I've got a good team around me.
Moving ahead, what's in for our customers around the world, especially Singapore, looking forward to your new vintage? Any wine tasting notes for this year's and next year?
Well, I mean, it's quite so. The two new ones that are just about to come out is this one here, the Peccavi, the 2010. We got the gold medal in Decanters World Wine Awards with this one, so we're quite excited about that. And the 2011 Chardonnay is actually doing very well as well. So we've got a couple of new wines that are about to hit the shelves, which I'm very excited about. And these are, I guess, I mean, especially for the Cabernet, 2010 was the first year where a lot of the major changes in the vineyards take place. You know, my profession beforehand has been sort of foreign exchange, where if you make a mistake, you know in seconds. Here, you spend years trying to figure out what you're going to do. You're trying years in getting the grapes, planting it, and everything, and everything just takes time. And you know, it's only after literally 4 years you realise whether you've got a good product. So yeah, it's got a lot of exciting things coming out now.
Now, another question for you is this: why do you choose to own a vineyard, and rather than just sticking to your comfort zone as a stock exchange trader?
It's just something I've always wanted to do. I mean, I guess part of being in foreign exchange is that at the end of the day you leave, and it's fine. But other than sort of making money or anything, you've not done anything. You've written things on a piece of paper, and it's all, I don't know. I guess it's something in me that I've just wanted to be able to make something. And for wine, it's been a passion of mine since probably it was probably illegal, too young to be able to drink. But it's just something that I've always wanted to do.
And Mr. Muller, please tell us, what does Peccavi mean behind those words? Is there any lingo?
Yeah, it means I have sinned, which is very good when the other labels no regrets. But anyway, no. So yeah, Peccavi itself means I have sinned. It's something that I remember from school. It's an old historical expression that was used by a British general a couple of hundred years ago, and so that was where I remembered it from. And it's just a name that stuck, and it's something that I thought was quite sort of cheeky, but something that not a lot of people realise. A lot of people think it's our family name, but the way it's on the bottle and stuff. But yeah, it's just something I enjoyed.
Now, hi Mr. Muller, welcome back to the National Critics' Choice. Please tell us about the production processes and the kind of the volume that you produce for your Peccavi wines.
Okay. First of all, our wines we sort of split into two. We have Peccavi wines, which are all our single vineyard, hand-picked, estate-grown wines. We then have No Regrets, where we have as well our own grapes, but we also blend them with some other grapes mainly from the southern part of Margaret River. The production or volume is about, of the No Regrets wines, we're about 2,000 cases of each of the Cabernet Merlot blend and of the Sauvignon Blanc Semillon. For these wines, it's more, it's a winemaker's wine. The idea is to make this a New World style. We're trying to make an easy drinking wine, and hence the name No Regrets. You open the bottle, you're going to have no regrets. The idea is just to get something that's each year you're going to get a similar blend, I guess. And to do that, for Margaret River, there's 120 kilometres north to south. There's quite a big temperature variation. So for us in the northern part of Margaret River, if it's a warm year, we tend to try to get more grapes from the southern part of Margaret River, and if it's a cooler year, we then will probably take more grapes from our own vineyards in the northern part. So that's how we work with the No Regrets. With Peccavi wines, these are all, they're hand-picked, estate-grown, and fine French oak for the reds, but actually, and both the whites as well. For these wines, we're about 700 cases of the Cabernet, the Chardonnay, and the Shiraz, and then about 500 cases of the Sauvignon Blanc Semillon.
And now, what kind of seal do you use for your wines? Do you use like a screw cap or cork?
Yeah, we use screw cap. I mean, for me, in the whole time of exporting to Singapore and everywhere, actually, I've had 2 bottles of wine returned just two. Which especially coming to Singapore, a lot of the wines that people will export and things, where the humidity can play an influence there, and a lot of people can get 5-10% returns on their wines. We've only ever had 2 bottles. So the screw cap I don't know. You lose the romance. It's always a wonderful thing pulling the cork, but the wines stay fresh and it looks after the wine, so it really does work.
Now, there is a concern by consumers. Wouldn't stainless steel rust for the screw cap itself? I mean, wouldn't it rust on the inside?
I've never heard of it rusting inside, and I know they've been doing tests for over 20-25 years, and so far I've never heard of any issues like that at all.
Oh, great. So let's move forward. Our consumers would like to know, if they do visit Margaret River to Peccavi Winery, is there any restaurant surrounding the area that you could recommend for fruit pairing?
Yeah, I mean, we got quite a lot of good restaurants in the area actually. I mean, the closest one to us was we have nothing on site at the moment. The closest one is actually our neighbourhood vineyard, which is the Aravina Estate, and they do some fantastic foods. And you get another example of a vineyard that's doing well in the northern Margaret River area. Where else? Lamont's, which is on a place called Smith's Beach, is not far away, and there you got a wonderful site. You can go for a walk down the beaches and things, and this is a place really well known for their food. They actually have a winery as well nearby with another slightly more formal restaurant, but the one by Smith's Beach is, if you want to get the beaches, everything, that's pretty worthwhile going to.
For Asian cuisine, what would be the one dish that you usually can't live without, but that you always pair your wines with? What would be the one dish in Asia?
In Asia?
Yeah, that's right. Any Asian cuisine that you would pair your...
I mean, if I'm having duck, I'll often have my Shiraz. I think they go very well, actually.
Oh, what kind of duck?
Well, Peking duck.
Oh, the Peking duck.
Yeah. So I often enjoy that. But also, I mean, I go to a lot of the seafood centres, and for there, I think the Chardonnay issue goes very well.
Amazing. So moving forward, what's next for you, for Peccavi?
Just keep building it up, really. I mean, it's something for myself. I'm going to be leaving my business later on this year, and when I do that, the plan is to start running the vineyard full time and then just to grow it. I mean, just very excited about getting involved a bit more.
Yeah. One more question. What is your secret of your success for your Peccavi wine that you have developed over the years? Was there any marketing strategy that you have in your sleeve that no one knows, or was it word of mouth?
I think part of it's word of mouth. I think I've been very lucky being based in Asia. I think that part of the issue with the wine glut and with different things that have happened has just been the selling the wine. Actually, is being close to a market, knowing people, and seeing that side of it. And for myself, having spent 20 years living in Asia, I'm lucky enough to actually know a lot of people like that. Then why successful? I think it goes down again to the team, having the right team of people around you. That really is incredibly important.
Once again, thank you for sharing with us here at the National Critics' Choice. Could you tell our viewers how can they look up for you? Do you have a website?
Yeah, we have a website. It's www.peccavivines.com.